Hello out there movie buffs, my name is Steve, aka NJMovieFreak, and today we'll be reviewing Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Now the reason why I picked this film to review next is because it was introduced to me by my late grandfather. When I was very young, my mother would go to work and I would be dropped off at his house in the summertime to either spend the day or the weekend together. Now his house in Newark, where he lived, was very big and had a lot of rooms. But the one room in particular I stayed in had a TV about this big with a VHS player built in. Out of all the VHSs that were stacked next to it, what did I pick? That's right, folks. The Willy Wonka VHS. I must have watched this thing so many times to the point where even if I had a VHS player today, it probably wouldn't play because of all the worn out tracking that's on it. This film really got my imagination going. I love Hershey Park and visiting there, but I never really got to see the insides of a real working chocolate factory. And as a kid, I figured this was the closest thing I would ever get to it. This film always left me with a smile on my face and a song in my heart. Not yet! This movie is filled with comedy, drama, life lessons, music, and of course, chocolate. To the person who had introduced me to one of the sweetest films on earth, my grandfather, I dedicate this episode to him. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was released on June 30th, 1971 in theaters. It includes actors such as Jack Albertson, Peter Ostrom, Julie Doncole, Denise Nickerson, and of course, Gene Wilder. The film at first was not a big success. It only made $2.1 million over its opening weekend. The critics were not so pleasant, except for a few, including Roger Ebert, who said that it was probably the best film of its sort since The Wizard of Oz. I'll take it. The film has had such a huge influence on today's pop culture that it's been parodied on Family Guy.
I'll ask you one more time. Are you sure you didn't eat anything in my factory?
No.
I'm just asking.
What are you, calling me a liar?
No, I'm just saying.
Hey, shut up, Wonka.
There's reference to it in Gilmore Girls.
Oh, you girls having another movie night?
Yeah, it's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Tom and Jerry have a feature-length film dedicated to Willy Wonka. And down the Jersey Shore, there's various arcades that have a coin push machine. The object of the game is to shoot the coin to the top shelf, and you can shoot multiple coins at once, and you have to get them to the bottom shelf in order to push the 9 character cards off the edge. Now if you collect all 9 character cards, there's one left. That's the hardest one to get. The golden ticket. Since the film was shot in 1970, technically the movie is now 50 years old. So if you haven't seen it by now, spoilers! The movie starts with tantalizing shots of chocolate being manufactured and formed into different shapes all the way up to the product being packaged. Then we see a young boy named Charlie Bucket watch a school kid sing songs with the shop owner of a local candy store. While walking home, he passes Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. A mysterious tinker tells Charlie that nobody ever goes in and nobody ever comes out. Charlie rushes home to tell his Grandpa Joe what the tinker said, and Grandpa Joe reveals that Wonka locked the factory because other candy makers, including his rival Arthur Slugworth, sent in spies to steal his recipes. A few days later, the news breaks that Wonka has hidden 5 golden tickets in Wonka bars and sent them to be sold at stores around the world. Lucky finders of the tickets will receive a factory tour on the 1st of October. The tickets are found by 5 children: the gluttonous Augustus Gloop, the entitled Veruca Salt, whose family made their wealth in the nut business, the loud-mouthed, gum-chewing Violet Beauregard, the television-obsessed Mike TV, and of course, Charlie Bucket. Before visiting the factory, Slugworth offers a reward to each one of them for a sample of Wonka's latest secret creation, the everlasting Gom Stopper. October 1st comes, and Wonka greets the ticket winners at the gate and leads them inside, where each child signs a contract before the tour. The factory includes a Candyland, a river of chocolate, a demented boat ride through a tunnel, and Wonka's employees, the Oompa Loompas. I've got a perfect puzzle for you. Children get into all kinds of mischief. Augustus gets sucked up by a pipe to the fudge room. Violet blows up into a large blueberry after chewing an experimental piece of gum. Charlie and Grandpa Joe sample a new soda that causes them to float like balloons. Veruca falls down a garbage chute. And Mike teleports his full-size self across the room, only to come back a few inches tall. Now, over the years, I've come to a few different conclusions about what the movie teaches society as a whole. And out of all the theories, I've come to one conclusion, that the movie teaches the kids about the 7 deadly sins. And I'm going to list them for you. Number 1, pride. Lyra Beauregard. She constantly flaunts the fact that she is the current record holder for the longest time spent chewing a single piece of gum.
Now this piece of gum here is one that I've been chewing on for 3 months solid, and that's a world record.
Not only that, she always has to be the center of attention.
Hi friends, Sam Beauregard here. The next time you're in Miles City, Montana, don't forget to visit
Cut it out, Dad. For heaven's sake, this is my show.
Number 2, greed. Veruca Salt.
You promised I'd have it the very first day. You're a rotten, mean father. You never give me anything I want.
Pretty much self-explanatory.
Don't care how I want it now.
Need I say more? Number 3, gluttony. Augustus Gloop. That boy can eat, and eat.
Save some room for later, Augustus Liebling.
Don't worry, he can't drink it all.
He falls into the chocolate river because he couldn't stop drinking all the chocolate water.
Please, I beg you, Augustus!
Number 4, lust. Charlie Bucket. He wants that golden ticket more than anything. Absolutely lusts over it.
I've got the same chance as anybody else, haven't I?
You got more, Charlie, because you wanted more.
He keeps close tabs on how many golden tickets are left, thinking about how the others who got their tickets first didn't deserve them.
And after this contest is over, you'll be no different from the billions of others who didn't find one.
But I am different. I want it more than any of them.
Number 5, envy. Grandpa Joe envied both Willy Wonka for his factory and Charlie Bucket because of the golden ticket.
Open it, Charlie. Let's see that golden ticket.
Wouldn't that be fantastic?
It's not fair to raise his hope.
Never mind. Go on, open it, Charlie. I want to see that gold.
You could also argue that he also represents sloth.
As soon as I get my strength back, I'm going to get out of this bed and help him.
Dad, in all the years you've been saying you're going to get out of that bed, I've yet to see you set foot on the floor.
After all, the guy spent years in bed until he had the chance to go to the Wonka factory.
'Cause I've got a golden ticket. Good morning! Look at the sun!
Faker. Number 6, wrath. Willy Wonka. He's a narcissist with an explosive personality.
And they're certainly not showing any signs that they are slowing.
He even snapped at Charlie and refused him his lifetime supply of chocolate.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You lose. Good day, sir.
Number 7, sloth. Mike TV. All he wants to do is watch television instead of doing anything else.
I serve all his TV dinners right here. He's never even been to the table.
You love to watch TV, Mike?
You bet.
I can go on and on about some of the qualms that I have with this movie, but I want to talk about 2 in particular. The liability contract that Mr. Wonka has the children sign, and the candy shop owner. Ever since I entered the workforce and been involved in film, contracts is one of the biggest things you have to really pay attention to. Number 1, the contract that Wonka has them sign is barely readable at the bottom, and that's called an unconscionable contract. Number 2, because the contract is being signed by a minor, that contract can now be deemed voidable at the option of the minor. And number 3, with contracts like this, you can disclaim liability but not negligence. Because most of the contract is a bunch of fancy words strung together to sound official, Mr. Wonka is going to run into some civil suits down the line, and for negligence as well as recklessness. Thank you, Legal Eagle. Now let's talk about the candy shop owner. Out of all the Wonka bars on the shelf, he grabs the one facing him and gives it to Charlie. The look on the shop owner's face as he gives Charlie the chocolate bar, and when Charlie walks away from the counter, makes me think. From what I can gather in this film, it takes place in a small town. Grandpa Joe knows how much Charlie wants that golden ticket. He also knows the newsstand owner.
Say hello to your Grandpa Joe.
Okay.
And the candy store and newspaper stand probably deal with the same vendors. Did the candy shop owner know that the golden ticket was in that bar?
I'm sorry, but all questions must be submitted in writing.
Now for some behind-the-scenes facts. Number 1. David Walper, the producer, was working with Quaker Oats at the time on a new commercial, and the company was getting ready to launch a new bar. He pitched the movie to them, and they thought it was a great idea, and they put the money up for the film. They called the new bar a Wonka Bar, and changed the title to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, so the name of the bar was in the title. Number 2. The Wonka bars were released in conjunction with the film, but there was a problem in the formula to manufacture the bars, and it caused them to go bad and quickly melt as they were sitting on the store shelves. Ironically, the bar didn't last 50 years, but the movie did. Number 3. Gene Wilder loved to be spontaneous, and some of the lines that were spoken on screen shocked his fellow co-stars. Few of the biggest examples where the reactions on screen were quite genuine were A. during his meltdown on the boat.
There's no knowing where we're rowing, or which way the river's flowing. Is it raining? Is it snowing?
And B. the scene where Gene Wilder was screaming at Charlie in his office near the end.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You stole fizzy lifting drinks.
When Gene Wilder was offered the role as Wonka, he would accept it under one condition. When I make my first entrance, I like to come out the door carrying a cane and then walk towards the crowd with a limp. After the crowd sees Willy Wonka as a cripple, they all whisper to themselves and then become deathly quiet. As I walk toward them, my cane sinks into one of the cobblestones I'm walking on and stands straight up by itself. But I keep on walking until I realize that I no longer have my cane. I start to fall forward, and just before I hit the ground, I do a beautiful forward somersault and bounce back up to a great applause. Number 4. Most of the candy in the candy garden was real and could be eaten, with the exception of the teacup Wilder bit into, which was made up of wax. When the director yelled cut, he would spit out the cup fragments and prepare for another take. Number 5. Snozberries.
Snozberries? Who's heard of a snozberry?
Snozberries was actually a euphemism for the male genitalia. Roald Dahl would often troll his readers with crazy words to see if they could figure them out, mostly the adults reading them to the children. To quote a 2012 article written by Anthony Sibeli for Crack.com, "We laugh because snozberries is obviously a fanciful fictional word, except that Roald Dahl, the book's author, knew exactly what snozberries were." Dahl also referenced this word again in 1979 for the adult novel My Uncle Oswald. Number 6. This film was Peter Ostrom's only credit to movies. After filming Wrapped, he became interested in horses and decided to go into the field of medicine, where he received his doctorate of veterinary medicine in 1984. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was also Denise Nickerson's first film. However, she was already a TV star at the age of 11, appearing on the famous vampire soap opera Dark Shadows from 1968 to 1970. Number 7. The office that Wonka resides in had everything cut in half to represent his deranged, unpredicting nature. Number 8. The movie was filmed in parts of Germany, such as Munich, so theatergoers couldn't tell where exactly the story took place. Number 9. The last line in the book, Grandpa yells, "Yippee!" And the director was not happy with this. He halted production and reached out to screenwriter David Seltzer, who was on vacation, to figure out what Gene Wilder should say to Charlie in the Wonkavator. There was one payphone in the area of Maine where he was at, and it began to ring. David picked up the phone, and the call was from Germany. David said, "I'm on vacation." Mel says, "I understand, but I'm on the set. We have money on the line, people are waiting, and I need the last line of the film now." David came back with the only thing that he can think of.
Don't forget what happened to the man who suddenly got everything he always wanted.
What happened?
He lived happily ever after.
Number 10. In 2014, the film was selected by the Library of Congress to be preserved in the United States National Film Registry for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory can be purchased on many different formats, but today I'm going to be talking about the Blu-ray and the 40th anniversary box set. Now the Blu-ray itself is it's a single disc. It's got some special features. You have the documentary called Pure Imagination. You got mouth-watering commentary by the Wonka Kids, 4 sing-along songs, a vintage featurette, and a theatrical trailer. Really good stuff here. Unfortunately, there's no artwork inside with the disc, but which is pretty cool. The disc is actually translucent, so even though there's no artwork, you can kind of see right through it. I would like to go into a little bit about the box set for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. This is 40 Years of Everlasting Fun. It was released in 2011. I didn't get this box set right away because I didn't know how awesome it was. After hearing of Gene Wilder's passing, I was very upset about it, and I read everything that I could about him, and I went online to see if this box set was still available, and it went out of print. And then I found all these third-party sellers on Amazon selling it for crazy amounts of money. So I went to eBay, and I found this one guy who was selling it. So I contacted him directly, and I asked him, if I can buy him outright and make a deal. So he made me he gave me a good deal, and got it shipped the next week. Go into the box a little bit here. So pull out. So we start the Pure Imagination Making of Willy Wonka and Chocolate Factory booklet. We're actually going to go into that a little bit later. Right here is actually a folder. And this is the contract that Wonka made the kids sign the movie with the Oompa Loompa. So you see correspondence. Now, what's really cool about this envelope is inside, it actually has some reproductions of real letters that were sent out by the producers to the actors, to the director, to Wolfer Pictures. Really cool stuff to read. Then you have the Wonka bar. Not really. It's a metal case. Inside you have, it's like a chocolatey eraser and some Wonka pencils. Never been opened. I'm probably never going to open those. Then you got the Wonka bar. It's a pretty big Wonka bar, to say the least. But actually, it's a fold out. And in it, you get the Blu-ray movie, the special features on DVD, and then the movie on DVD itself. They have a really good artwork here for Gene Wilder. Actually, I have to say the whole box set's got really cool artwork, and the colors are they just explode off the page and the box and everything. Now, like I said before in the beginning of this, going back to the booklet, I'm going to show you why. When you open it up to a particular page, and oh, golden ticket, golden ticket. Yes, each one of these boxes comes with a golden ticket. The reason why this booklet means a lot to me is because I actually had it signed by Denise Nickerson, who portrayed Vira Beauregard, the Blueberry Girl. And she also signed another Wonka's golden ticket, which actually gives this is like a certificate of authenticity for the signature on this booklet. It's very upsetting because she passed away last year in 2019, and I actually have a picture with her at the convention. I am such a fanatic about this film that a few years ago, I actually dressed up as Willy Wonka at my job. I would give this film 5 stars. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory teaches children to listen carefully, work hard, never give up on their dreams, and to stay away from people like Slugworth.
Charlie, meet Mr. Wilkinson. Pleasure.
No, not that one. That one. Remember, round the corner, down the alley, guy named Slugworth, just say no. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this video. Click on that subscribe button below to like and share it. Turn on those notifications so you can stay up to date with all the videos, news, updates, podcasts, etc. If you have any comments, any questions, please post them in the comments section below, and I'll get to them as soon as possible. I hope we all have a great day, and I will see you soon.